You dated before the internet.
Oh, yeah.
That's just a fact. You dated before the internet.
Oh, yeah. I was in the streets heavy. Pre-internet.
So you remember a time before the apps even existed.
I remember a time when a man was interested in you, he had to come talk to you. Straight up.
Well, speaking of men coming and talking to you, have you ever been ghosted?
I think I must have been ghosted in my life, for sure. But I've generally been the ghoster, not the ghostee. And I'm not proud of that. I've ghosted many a men. This was after my divorce, so this was after the apps.
Also, ghosting's like an elusive term, right? Because what does it actually mean? A lot of conversations just naturally fall off.
For sure. Things just peter out. But I think ghosting is very much tied to breadcrumbing, which is this idea of like you're giving people signals that you're interested, but you're not.
I think I just got breadcrumbed.
Oh, no.
I think I got breadcrumbed by my recent lover, my English teacher.
Oh, no.
I took him on a date to Huntington Library, which is like a large park. And we had an amazing time, or I thought we had an amazing time. Prior to that date, we had met on Grindr because I hooked up with him after my friend's engagement party.
Okay.
So we already had sex and it was incredible.
Okay.
And then I like left him my number and kind of like kept the ball in his court, and then he reached back out.
Okay.
So then I set up said date. Then we went on said date, had a great time, kissed him at the end. We continued to text throughout the week. I was trying to plan a little like beach date with him, and he ended up getting sick. And then we were texting basically from Monday through Friday. Now we're basically a week away from that. No response. He just fell off.
Oh, God.
He fell off. But I will say, I mentally prepared myself for being ghosted after having a man cry on my lap about his dead dad after knowing him for 3 months and then never hearing from him ever again.
The guy that you just went out with, this is a classic ghosting. It's like, I thought we had a good time. I'm reaching out. I'm putting effort, and then silence. That's
Yes.
classic ghosting. The guy with the dead dad, that was like extreme.
That was extreme. Know you for 3 months. You open up and reveal something to me that obviously cuts very deep. You have an emotional breakdown on my couch after I had bought us dinner that night. We had fucked that night. Never hear from him ever again. After I had texted him even that night and said, just confirming that I would like to see you again. And he said, just let my insanity sit with you and let me know how you feel. And I said, will do. Never heard from him again. So after that experience, I'm like, nothing can hurt or harm me.
I've been the ghoster in the situation, and I can see the faces of men that I've ghosted. Like, it does not sit well with me. I'll just say that. But I will say this, this wasn't ghosting, but the one semi-ghosting experience that I had after my divorce, I got back out there, I was on the apps, and I had met this guy who was a professor, and he's a literal astrophysicist. And like, we went on a few dates. It was like really, really good. We were into each other. I was a grad student, so I was on campus. He was a professor, so he was on campus. We never got physical. Like, the most we ever did was like heavy petting, like making out. But after the one time that we did that, the heavy petting, making out,
I've never heard of heavy petting.
You're so young. Oh my gosh.
Okay, pup play.
He texted me, so not ghosted, but he texted me and was like, I cannot see you again.
That's me. I'd rather be so direct.
I cannot see you again because I like you too much. And you are taking over my thoughts. I'm not being a good parent to my children. And I'm like, what? And it was the first time I ever heard the term limerence. Now, the guy
Not
is,
a limerick.
The guy is from Ireland, so I thought he mistyped. I was like, a limerick? He was like, I'm experiencing limerence.
I mean, I don't even know what that means.
Limerence, basically, like you like someone too much.
You're under a spell.
Literally, like you're under a spell, and I'm like, but this is just what the beginning of a relationship feels like. This is normal.
No, his honeymoon phase was amped up.
Well, so then I was like, explain this to me. Like, you've never experienced this before? You used to be married, and
He's thinking about collecting your teeth, taking your toenail clippings. He's gone off to a far off realm that you don't even want to know about.
Well, I did want to know about it. I was like, explain this to me. I was like, you were married
before.
before.
You like me too much?
I was like, you were married before, so you've experienced the beginnings of a relationship. He was like, no, me and my ex-wife, we were friends first. Like, I never felt this before, and I don't want to feel it.
He was neglecting his children for you.
He said, I don't want to feel it. And I was like, whoa. Like, it really hurt, though, because I was, like, feeling him in the moment. So I was like, that is an excuse for the ages. I like you too much. I don't think I buy it, is the thing. I just don't think I buy it. I don't know. But
what about after Wuthering Heights liking somebody too much?
Okay. So that is an amazing segue because we both saw Wuthering Heights, and I'm in a text chain with Monica Lewinsky.
The Monica Lewinsky, which I just want to say, a friend texted me and they said, Hannah Montana, well, Miley Cyrus is apparently having a Hannah Montana anniversary concert.
Okay.
And because we're like semi-adjacent to the industry,
Okay.
she was joking and texted me and said, is there any strings you can pull to get us to the Hannah Montana anniversary concert? And I said, well, my only in there would be that Candace has a relationship with Monica Lewinsky, who has a relationship with Miley Cyrus, which would be the craziest phoning in on my end for the biggest favor ever.
Yeah, I don't think I got that kind of pull.
She was like, that was a fever dream of...
Yeah, 6 degrees of separation.
Of 6 degrees of separation.
Well, I'm in this group chat with Monica, and she goes and sees Wuthering Heights. And so did another woman in this group chat. She's between my age and Monica's age. And they both agree that how you feel about Wuthering Heights is going to depend on your age. Because the youngest person in this group text is like, I loved it. I loved it. It was so good. And the older people in the group chat are like, it was fine. It was beautiful, but it was fine. And I do think it's because as an older person, your views on love mature. You've had several relationships, and this idea of limerence is ridiculous. Like, it just does not hit the same. And you can appreciate it because you've been young once and you've experienced this all-encompassing kind of love, but it feels like, let's get it together, people. Like, this is ridiculous.
But also in this world, they're like living in isolation. It's not like Kathy, who's our main character played by
Margot Robbie,
has a lot of male options.
Right.
So when you're looking at Jacob Elordi as Heathcliff growing up and seeing this boy that you have an obsession with become a fucking man.
A real man.
A real man. A real ass man. Yeah, you're going to be salivating. Your mind's going to go nowhere else, especially when your only other option is Edgar.
Well, first of all, I want to put some respect on Edgar's name because I Googled what this man looked like IRL. First of all, I was like, oh, this character looks a lot like John Lovitz. Like, why? Like the original John Lovitz, not John Lovitz of the Barack Obama campaign.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't even know who this is.
Okay. The real comedian John Lovitz, who is just a chubby, fat Jewish man. He looks like a young John Lovitz, but the real man in real life, he's like a gorgeous Pakistani man.
Edgar didn't light up my loins.
Because that character was not supposed to light up your loins. If you've read the book, that man is supposed to be an overbearing, classist asshole.
Okay, have you read the book?
So I have never read this Bronte book.
I've never read this Bronte book either.
Yeah, no, but I do know that this character is supposed to be like a dull, classist jerk.
I did go to the Wikipedia post viewing last night just to really understand some semblance of the text, in just summary, which it's interesting. It's like a multi-generational epic. Like, it's largely narrated through Nellie's perspective, like telling the story post Kathy's death. And also, I think Heathcliff also dies in the novel. Like, we just end the film on Kathy no longer being with us, not the fallout from that. But what I will say is I think that there has been a lot of discussion about whether is it Emerald Fennell or Emerald Fennell?
I was hoping you were going to say it the right way. Let's call her Emerald Fennell.
Emerald Fennell.
Yes.
This is her third film. Have you seen
I've seen them all. Saltburn, Promising Young Woman, and this one.
Yeah, I've seen them all too. Did you realize that, Isabella, who plays Edgar's sister.
Yes, is the girl from Task.
No, is she the young cop?
She's the young cop who gets it at the end.
No, what I was going to tell you, she's the sister in Saltburn.
Oh my God, you're right.
No, I didn't know that. So Emerald brought her over into this world as well. And she was fine in Saltburn, but she was a scene stealer.
She was amazing in this. And I was like, I just saw this woman in something. Who is she? And I Googled and found out she's the girl from Task.
Oh my God, I didn't realize. I didn't like her in Task. Well, I didn't like that character.
The character's horrible.
That character is so grating.
Annoying.
Which is kind of funny because in Saltburn, the sister's like hot or desirable.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was such a great display of her range.
Amazing range.
In this movie,
yes.
To be kind of like a little bit spectrum-y.
Yeah.
And
a lot of bit spectrum-y.
A lot of bit spectrum-y. She kind of reminded me of Beth in Little Women a little bit. Like Beth Coded.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know the sister who dies?
Yeah.
But then even more weird.
Yeah.
Far more weird.
Yeah.
Like when she's collecting Margot Robbie's hair and presents her the doll, gagged.
I was like, iconic.
And then the doll later, when she realizes that Margot Robbie's character's Kathy is fucking with her, she stabs the doll, leaves it out.
She's an unhinged character.
She's an unhinged character.
But the thing that bothers me is that Emerald Fennell made Isabella's character almost so you know that she's kind of like under the spell, like bewitched by Heathcliff. But the thing I don't like is that this character almost kind of likes the abuse, like she's there for the abuse, when in the book it's not like that.
I think I lost the thread a little bit on what I was trying to say about reading the summary of the novel to the adaptation, which is Emerald Fennell is a huge fan of Wuthering Heights. Clearly, that's why she wanted to adapt this and have her take. What I had heard from her previously is this is like her interpretation of the fantasies of the imagined realm that she went to as a teenage girl reading this. This lit up inside of her, this deep romance, the sexuality and the sensuality of this book. That is what she wanted to delve into. I don't think that she wanted to do a faithful adaptation. And she said, you can't do a faithful adaptation of this book, which is a multi-generational epic, in film. Okay. There's just not enough time.
Okay.
There's not enough time to cover the book's framework in the duration of a movie.
Okay.
It could be maybe a mini series, but it's not going to be covered in any 2-hour film.
Well, what I'll say is I think that she's going to get the backlash that she got for Promising Young Woman, which was like a feminist backlash where, she did not have to frame the Isabella character like this because it isn't like this in the book. So this is a choice. And I think where I am in the minority is that people have very strong feelings about what was the maid
child Nellie's.
I have I think diverging opinion on Nellie's place and how people feel about Nellie. I'm actually team Nellie. I think that Nellie, in service of saving herself, I'm sure it was like she had a selfish, reasonings for what she was doing. I think in service of serving herself, she was serving everyone. Like, she was definitely serving Margot Robbie. I think she was serving Heathcliff. And ended up serving Edgar in the end as well.
Well, that's what makes her such kind of a delicious villain. If there is going to be a villain in this story, is that she is deeply layered and complicated in her motives, because ultimately, one of the things that she's constantly battling with, even at a young age, is her companionship versus her servitude to Kathy, and where she falls in kind of this caste system of being above the hired help, but being below
the house.
The house.
As me and David were discussing it, for me, the story is a story of like repeating cycles. Like,
wait, did you see it with your lover?
I saw it with my husband.
Okay.
Yes. It's a story of repeating cycles. Kathy was a jerk. I mean, she was a jerk.
Okay, I don't think that I didn't perceive her as a jerk, but what I perceived her as is spoiled by excess in her early days. And even her dad, he drinks in excess. He gambles their money away in excess, and that excess then breeds, I think, some cruel qualities.
A jerk. She is a jerk to everyone. She's a jerk to Nellie. She's a jerk to Heathcliff. She's ends up being unkind to Edgar. She's extremely unkind to, what's the girl's name? Isabella. I think that she is a jerk because her dad is a jerk. And her dad's a jerk because he's an alcoholic. And so what he inflicts on the house replicates. Nellie replicates it. Heathcliff, when he comes back and he's rich, although I don't know how he ends up making his money, he ends up being a jerk in return to Kathy.
Okay, so what's interesting is the dad is a composite character, because apparently in the book, the dad is like a virtuous character, dies early on, and it's Kathy has a brother who really embodies all of these evil-like qualities. So it was Emerald streamlining fragments of the story, which I appreciate because it has to happen in film. The film is beautifully shot. Gorgeous. Also, I think that I really liked the mix of the Charlie XCX soundtrack with like kind of like the old Shanghai. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like, what kind of music is it? Like,
I don't know what it's called.
Gorgeous, like, I don't know, like English, Scottish, like hymns.
Highland music,
So,
it's a really gorgeous movie. I think that going back to the generational, like why it maybe feels like a little bit much to older people.
Well, it's kink positive.
Yeah, but older people can be kink positive. What I'll say is one of the things that one of my friends said is that the sex wasn't sexy to her. And I actually really agreed with that. And this is a controversial opinion, but Margot Robbie, much like Beyonce for me, is a person who is objectively gorgeous. Like, everything lines up, right? She's pretty, she's whatever, but she's not sexy to me. Like, I don't get sex appeal from Margot Robbie. And so to me, it wasn't really sexy.
Interesting. I think that it was more that she was a vessel for Heathcliff's sexual desires that she was the beneficiary of, in terms of every time he pulled out that tongue and slid it across her face, or
he was really sexy.
Nearly sucked on her nose, or, you know,
his yearning just felt more real to me than hers was reciprocated. And maybe it's one of those things when, like, you have a pet, that's how it is. Your pet loves you unconditionally, right? And he was the pet, and that came through, and it almost felt like she loved him secondarily. I don't know. And for me, the first half was much stronger than the second half. Like, once he comes back and the whole Isabella thing gets, you know, played, and Margot Robbie is pregnant, to me, it almost felt like, okay, let's get this on the road. But
really?
Yeah.
One thing that I think is interesting that is like a scene that definitely sticks with people is Isabella chained up as a dog, kind of like doing pup play. And that was born out of, in the book, he kills her small dog, Heathcliff does, as like an act of violence. And it was Emerald subverting that in a kinky sexual manner.
Well, I wondered what happened to the dog because remember, like, we see the dog, and then when Nellie shows up to the house and she's not chained to the fireplace, you hear barking, and then you realize
it's coming from her.
It's Isabella. But yeah, I think it's a beautiful film, and it's one I'll watch again. I'll definitely watch it again.
Did you see the outrage online that Heathcliff should be black?
No.
Okay, so I'm curious your thoughts on this. Emily Bronte in the original text refers to him as being dark-skinned and a gypsy.
That doesn't read as black to me.
And do you think it would read as black to you knowing that this was written in the 1800s by a white woman in England? Not to say that there weren't black people at the time who also could ascend in wealth, because that's part of this man's journey as well. He is taken in, he's basically a poor man, but eventually he goes off and becomes wealthy. I just imagine that genesis would be much easier if one were white. And I don't know that it's like emphasized so heavily throughout that he's dark skinned. I think it's just one mention. Like I said, I haven't read the original text. But what I'm getting at is, you want to know who I call dark? My mom in the summertime, who looks like a leather bag. I've been called, oh, you're getting dark. I just want to unpack this because I've never thought of dark-skinned or being called a gypsy, equating that to...
Well, the gypsy is what really does not equate to black to me. So dark obviously is going to be relative to what you grew up. Like, I remember there was this conversation online about the term tall, dark, and handsome.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
That white people conjure a dark-haired white person in their head, and black people absolutely do not.
Yeah, if I were thinking tall, dark, and handsome, and we're getting to him, JFK Jr.
I think of Idris Elba.
So crazy.
Yeah. To me, dark means dark. But the gypsy of it all, to me, then is like, I'm thinking a olive-skinned, dark-haired person.
Interesting. And what is inferred by, I guess, some like literary, scholars is that like he could have been like an American or Spanish stowaway. Like that is how
Spanish I could see.
So and in the adaptation, what I thought was interesting is when we've come across Heathcliff, he's like a dirty boy. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know if that was, not to equate dirty with dark, but like a physical representation of the dark skin, or if it was later on all the time he spent in the sun.
Yeah, I guess to me, like, him being dirty just is an equation, like a class signifier, and the fact that like he's missing a tooth and and his accent is even different than their accent. It's more of like, this is probably wrong, so British people don't come for me, but it sounds more of like that chimney sweep Cockney accent than what the other people have. So
someone give me some more, please.
Yeah, and then he, fills that tooth with the gold tooth.
Oh,
later
loved
on.
The gold tooth.
Oh my God, my husband loves that too. Yeah, so for me,
give Heathcliff a grill.
Him being black to me would have thrown off everything because, like, for me, it's like this is a true like Victorian class show, right? This is not that Shonda Rhimes show.
But we had Hung Chow as... Yeah, I don't know.
But Chinese people were servants to British people at that time that we both have read. Babel.
True. Yeah. The internet is going to come for us for not interpreting dark skin the way that they're interpreting dark skin.
I don't think so. I mean, if it really does say gypsy, I think that, when you think gypsy, do you think a black person? They're Roma. Gypsies are Roma.
No, not necessarily. I don't know. I don't know that gypsy conjures an image for me.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't really know what that means.
Interesting. To me, they're Roma people. They're dark-haired, olive-skinned people.
So. I guess that's what I would think in the literal sense, knowing what a gypsy is. But like, I know that it's also a slur to people.
Yeah. It's like Indian, where it became a slur, but then there's like this embracing happening among the people of that term.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Wait, why was Indian a slur?
instead of Native American.
Oh,
That
I
kind
thought
of Indian.
I was taking it to
India.
East Asia.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the other thing that I just wanted to talk about was the opening scene with the man being hung and him getting an erection. I don't know what the people are going to say about this, but I love being choked. So I totally understood.
Well, this goes back to the thing that I wanted to say that I didn't get to say earlier. So I said that this movie, to me, is about replicating trauma. Not replicating trauma, replicating patterns. So when we see Margot Robbie first experience her first sexual experience, and that's what we're led to believe, she's looking through the slats in the floor and she sees.
But it's not that. Her first experience was watching the erection. I think your point is brilliant. So when she sees through the slats the person getting fucked in a really brutal way, the first time she saw someone having a sexual reaction was in a really brutal way.
Yeah, but that's not what I was going to say, because
Okay.
I don't know if that felt sexual to her, the erection. To me, that's like a biological mechanism that just happens, and they even explain it away. I guess for me, when she's looking through the slats, the way that her reaction is, you are made to know, like, oh, she's still a virgin. She's not experienced a sexual experience before. And Heathcliff climbs on top of her, covers her eyes, and covers her mouth. She then, when she gets married to Edgar, they're having this very basic ass sex all the time. And she asks him to replicate that, or not asks him, like,
She does it.
maneuvers him to do that. And it's like a replication of something that she experiences in her youth, right? Like when she's a young adult with Heathcliff
Yes.
before he leaves. All of this to me ties into the fact that they are kind of both stuck in this youthful time in their lives. And to me, this is the movie in itself, or the reason why this doesn't resonate as much with older people is because these are feelings that happen when you're very young. And to me, the reason why the beginning of the movie is much better for me than the second half of the movie is because you're tapping into all of these feelings that happen when you're young, these really strong, obsessive feelings. And like when you break up, it's like so hard when you're young, and it just ain't like that when you're older. And then it's the second half of the movie, it just kind of feels like, y'all, we are all too old to be. And honestly, like I said, Margot Robbie, like, just doesn't come off as sexy to me. She almost comes off as, like, more than Jacob Elordi, just like cosplaying this character for me. Like, it doesn't feel like a person of this age would be acting like this. And I don't know how old Margot Robbie is, but it just doesn't fit for me.
I disagree. I don't think that age signifies how obsessive you can be.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm 30 and I can get obsessive about someone.
I still think that's really young. I think that, like, after you have a few really big heartbreaks where you've been in a relationship for a long time and that goes bad and you never think something like that could happen.
These characters are written as under 30.
First of all, Margot Robbie doesn't come off as under 30 for me, but also it just seems people who are over 30, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't feel, it's like, okay, this is like for younger people.
Well, I guess that's why some people don't understand Taylor Swift's plight, because she continues to be in an obsessive state.
I think so.
But I think also this is a generational thing of maybe a younger generation, especially like younger millennials and Gen Z, we're just like more openly emotional and will continue to be more emotional throughout our lifetime than your generation.
I just think that you're more emotional when you're young, and as you get older, you become more stable emotionally.
I don't think it's about stability of emotions. I think it's about people not wanting to share their emotions.
But I think that, like, I was a much more emotional person when I was younger, and I'm a less emotional person now. I just think that that's normal. Like, it has to do with hormones, it has to do with experience, it has to do with, like, the more tragic things that happen to you. But
I don't understand how you're placing that on this movie.
I just think for me, the beginning of the movie was much more exciting when they were children and then before he left, because all of these emotions felt very pent up. And these are things that, like, these are feelings you do have when you're younger. And then I guess what I'm saying, for me, generationally at my age, I don't feel moved by it. It just feels like
You wanted them to assimilate into adulthood in a different
you're
way.
married, you've gone on, you've had something
But it's
happened.
all regrets. It's all regrets.
Well, all of this is to say for me is like Emerald Fennell clearly like has her own patterns in her movie making. Like the people in her movies, whether it be Saltburn or Promising Young Woman, these are people who are very like obsessive and driven by something. And all of them, they're all kind of driven. There's like a kind of like a revenge theme that runs through all of them.
Yes.
And that is
You're so right there. Revenge is in all three films.
And so to me, like I liked all three films, but the strong emotions that all of these people have, they are emotions of people who are all quite unstable.
Yeah.
Everyone is quite unstable.
Well, maybe that's why I see myself in all of it. Like, I'm an unstable person, or I am stable enough to know when I'm getting unstable to announce as much, to say, like, I'm getting angry or I'm being obsessive. And, like, but I'm okay with having those big outbursts as long as I understand what it is that's underneath all of it.
But in all of these movies, these people's instability left them dead or... You know what I mean?
No. But I also just want to say that I think your point is one to be interpreted, the reoccurrence of...
Oh, just like their pattern, they keep repeating patterns.
They're repeating patterns, because I really do like applying that to that first initial scene, because it's what impression does it make when everybody is like jeering and jarring at this man who's having an erection while being hung? Because I do believe that is a brutal act. While you're saying it's biology, it's also him being aroused, and that is being announced in this crowd. They're saying he has a stiffy or whatever. So that is imprinted on the brain. Just in the same way, I faced abuse as a kid. Why do I like some BDSM in the bedroom with control? It's like, clearly there's an impression made that like there's a way where this can be reinterpreted, but it's also a reoccurring theme in my life.
The last thing I would want to say is I loved the little boy from Adolescence. You know, like, just call him to this space. Like, he's so talented.
He is so talented.
Yeah.
He is so talented. I can't wait to see his career. And I don't know if you know this, but like Jacob Elordi is a big Bottega Veneta bag holder.
Okay.
And that boy now has a contract with Bottega, like the fashion house.
Okay.
And when they were at the Golden Globes together, they took a picture and he had like a little Bottega jacket on, the younger boy with Jacob. So it really is giving like young,
Big Little.
young, big little versions of one
Yeah,
another.
that's cute. I think Emerald Fennell has a knack for portraying women in a strong way. Someone who is going to have to pay for their crimes for how they have portrayed and treated women is Tyra Banks. Now, did you watch the America's Next Top Model documentary?
All three parts.
All three parts. What did you think?
It was funny because going in, right before I went in, I was watching it with a friend who grew up watching ANTM with me. And I was someone who was watching probably like cycles 1 through 10. I didn't realize that it started airing in like 2003. Really early in the 2000s. And another thing that I kind of thought about was Tyra's legacy. And it's like, I don't know that her legacy is so much attached to modeling as it is this show. And even when she was talking about like pitching it, it was pretty revolutionary at the time. I mean, this was the early stages of reality television, competition shows. She was trying to do a blend of American Idol meets...
It was like American Idol and like Fear Factor.
Essentially, she was trying to sell us on like the model version of American Idol.
Yeah.
And, you know, before I went in, I was kind of just like regurgitating like the most, quote, iconic moments that I remembered. And I was like, Tyra fainting and the acting challenge. Can never forget that. And then I was like, one of my favorite photo shoots which comes up in the documentary, was the 7 deadly sins.
Oh my God, yes.
And I was like, and they made, and I said it before watching it, they made the quote chunky girl, didn't remember her name, didn't remember everything that happened, but I was like, they made the chunky girl gluttony. And I remember that being part of the narrative.
Oh my God.
So I remembered a lot of photo shoots. Like I remembered the Carrie D of it all. I was like really big on the Nick season. So like I had my favorites. Plug in, and like Eva, just Eva the Diva, and like she has been on Real Housewives of Atlanta. So like there has been a legacy from some of these women. Did I ever see them out in the world with their cover girl contracts that they won? No. Did I ever see any of them as a working model rather than like some of them becoming personalities? No. I mean, like, I forgot that Winnie Harlow was on the show because it was so many cycles in. No one was watching it at that point.
Exactly.
But it really illuminated how problematic this show was. Like, especially when we go like reopen and examine the case of a photo shoot like the 7 deadly sins, them painting this girl as being heavy when she was not even average weight. She wasn't even average.
She was below average
weight. She was below average weight. And when you watch it and she's explaining like they would re-edit me eating the same bagel over and over again to make it seem like I was stuffing my face. You can literally see the shots of her her biting into this bagel and it's starting anew.
Yeah, it's so problematic. The thing is, I was not a person who watched America's Next Top Model. I was like in the streets. I was 22 years old in 2003. I was not watching TV. I was in the clubs. I was dancing. I was getting drunk. I was hooking up. I was not watching UPN. But I knew that Tyra was problematic. I always thought Tyra was simply problematic from her talk show. Not to know that the problems started a full almost decade with ANTM.
Also, the talk show was born out of the popularity
of ANTM.
One of the craziest moments from this documentary was cycle 2, the Shandi of it all.
Okay, let's talk about Shandi.
First off, you can't forget a name like Shandi.
No.
Not to like make it about image when this documentary is literally criticizing how the images of these women were manipulated, but like Shandi's trauma, I think, deeply affected her because she doesn't even look like the same person.
No, and that actually, you know, I look at people from high school and they don't look like they did in high school. That's a natural occurrence. But I do think that Shandi was so underweight at that time. And this is no shade to Shandi. Shandi looked poor. Shandi looked like a white woman who's growing up with no money. I think she was working at like Walgreens or something like that.
I felt her on that.
Yeah, like you also worked at Walgreens. And like now she looks nothing like that.
I think the craziest thing is you watch sexual assault essentially unfold on camera, and we all fed into this narrative that Shandi cheated on her boyfriend.
Yes.
That's how it was still kind of being framed, at least by the producers, and Tyra herself, like, oh, Shandi cheated on her boyfriend. And I'm like, Shandi was drunk out of her mind. These men that were essentially in their apartment in Rome were hired earlier that day to like moped them all around. Production should have said, it's time for these men to go home. No one intervened. She was clearly off her fucking ass.
Not only did they not say go home, the producers and camera people filmed her sexual, we won't call it a sexual assault because I don't know the man's, like how drunk he was, but filmed this sex where she was too drunk to consensual to be having this sex. They not only filmed the sex, they then filmed the aftermath of the sex where she realizes she had sex with this guy drunk. Which means she cheated on her boyfriend. They film her, call her boyfriend, break down to him that I cheated on you.
And before she films the breakdown of her having to confess to her boyfriend, Tyra creates this fake scene with all of the women the next day where they meet up with her and have a girls' chat in Rome. And she talks about being cheated on by a model in Italy. And she then looks at Shandi and goes, did you cheat?
So problematic. And it's all for ratings. It's insane.
So when they ask Tyra about the situation, they ask her something to the effect of like, do you remember the Shandi situation? And she goes, I
remember Shandi.
I remember some of the Shandi. Then we see that she not only, how do you forget something that you produced, you lived through, but then years later, you exploited Shandi on your talk show, wanted to relive the events of what happened on camera.
Shandi says, no, I don't want to look at it.
I don't want to look at it. And she goes, Shandi, I noticed that you were closing your eyes during that entire segment. She goes, it's too painful for me. How do you forget all of these memories? It's so selective. And this is what I was going to say about the entire documentary. It's selective on what Tyra wants to take responsibility for versus what she wants to cleanse her hands of. And it's clear that she was the most powerful person in the room.
My takeaway from this documentary is Tyra is not sorry enough. She is abusive to everyone, not only the girls. She ends up being abusive to the two Jays who thought that they were friends of hers. Jay Emanuel reaches out to her when he's had enough and he's like, I'm going to move on. He sends her an email to explain that he appreciates the opportunity, but he needs to move on. She leaves him on red to then finally respond to him days later. I'm so disappointed.
That's all.
That's it. Then goes on to film additional scenes with him for the next season in which he's so confused about what's going on because she won't look at him until she finally does. And he's like, what the hell is happening?
And it's only to have a relationship on camera.
On camera.
I think that she only knows how to function in regards to like garnering attention or garnering ratings, because even with like Miss J, I didn't realize that Miss J had a stroke and Tyra never even reached out to him.
I think that she comes off as very heartless. And you know who has not gotten enough smoke? I'm sorry. Ken Mock. Ken Mock is just as bad as Tyra. Like, he took almost no responsibility. There was only one thing that he took responsibility on in the whole documentary. And I just think everyone involved, including Dawn Ostroff at UPN, just let some really disgusting things go on. They allowed this crew to physically alter these women's appearances, dentally and otherwise. Especially am disgusted as Tyra Banks is a pioneer for Black women in modeling. And the way that she treated Black women on this show is so disgusting.
This is what was illuminated for me during this documentary is Tyra Banks is the Nicki Minaj of modeling.
Oh my God. This came to me as well.
Yes, because you want to know what I think? I think Naomi was always one to be like, Amon and all of these other women paved the way. I think Naomi acts singular as I am Naomi. I am Naomi and no one can do what Naomi does. But Naomi isn't saying I am the only Black model. I think that largely was Tyra's narrative on ANTM all of the years, and that isn't true. Like, because she wouldn't put respect on Naomi's name. She maybe would put respect on like an Iman's name, but she I think would act more singular in a way that Nicki Minaj oftentimes would, in terms of I invented female rap.
Yeah, it's like this like mother complex, right? It's so gross. And just going back to the Black women who were affected, I mean, so many women were affected from the show, but the Black women from the show, like, it was so disheartening to listen to Danny talk about how they made her close her gap in order for her to get jobs when there were no jobs to be had. Tyra knew that she was going to be affected by the reality star stamp and still let her do that cosmetic change when she really didn't want to. Ebony, like the way that they created these narratives and they made Ebony out to be like this aggressive, angry Black woman, disgusting.
Even the Tiffany of it all, when watching it back, I mean, I was always on Tiffany's side, but The idea that she left with grace, she was holding her head up high. She said, I love you guys, smiling to her castmates. She was just like, you know, do your thing. I guess my time is over. You want to know why I think Tyra freaked out? Because she didn't get a reaction out of Tiffany.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
And that's what I realized. I was like, oh, you sent this woman to anger management classes, or Tiffany's been in therapy. She's a young person. It seems like she's displaying more growth than you in this moment. She has more power over her own reaction, and you do not.
Oh, girl had enough maturity to be like, no, I'm just going to leave. Like, I'm done.
You told me, are you in or are you out?
She's saying, I'm out.
I'm out. So
and she was like, how dare you? How dare you? I was rooting for, it's the famous I was rooting for you clip.
She's like, girl, roll the credits. My face is about to disappear from the group shot, and it is what it is.
And she has since come out and she has further called Tyra out on her bullshit. And she's like, you're full of shit. You're a bully. You've always been a bully. You're unaccountable. And that's exactly what we see. Like, Jay, I feel like, took accountability. I feel like Miss J took some accountability. Ken Mock, no. Tyra, hell no. Nigel, you could tell that he felt really, really bad.
He still had a few problematic views.
He did.
In terms of thinking about, in regards to like how models have to advocate for themselves.
Yeah.
It was really insane watching that moment with Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
Say on camera, I feel uncomfortable with this man groping me.
Yeah.
And they say, girly pop, there's 100 of us on set. You're fine. Keep it rolling.
Yeah. I know some things are of the time, and we do have to acknowledge that a lot of stuff is hindsight is 2020, but some things people are advocating for themselves in the moment.
Yes, I think those are the most egregious cases when people are advocating for themselves in the moment versus just like the stick thin culture of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, that is like pretty easy to digest and understand.
You get wrapped up in it. It's just of the time.
What I thought was also really interesting is all of these photo shoots that I remember, whether it was the Deadly Sins or them in Africa playing out animals. And of course, not only did Kenya get glutton, but she also got the elephant.
Yes. Race swapping.
But cancer, I mean, smoking kills, whatever it was. None of them translated to a portfolio that was actually sellable in the real world, which makes a lot of sense because these were like egregious ideas and they weren't actually ideas that would necessarily translate to any magazine, even of the time.
Yeah. There was no commercial appeal to these. They were too busy keeping up with reality television. Like they even say like Fear Factor where they're putting spiders on them and stuff like that.
That's what it was. You realize that these photo shoots were merely for the viewer's entertainment rather than advancing these women's careers.
And unfortunately, unlike American Idol, which did give us idols, America's Next, it did give us a few.
Yeah, especially in those early seasons.
In the early seasons, the very first one, Kelly Clarkson, she is a phenom. We did not get any models except for Winnie Harlow is the only one I can really think of who became a
huge
real model.
I mean, Eva, I guess, but more of a personality.
More of a personality.
I will say that Tyra was like trying to act as if a Cycle 25 is on the calendar or on the books. And
we don't want it.
We don't want it. And Hannah Berner was talking about this with Paige on Giggly Squad. And she was like, if ANTM existed today, all of the girls would look the same.
They all look Kardashian-y.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so you mentioned one American dynasty, the Kardashians. Let's bring another Kate clan into the mix, the Kennedys.
Yes.
Are you watching Love Story?
I mean, I'm watching as far as I'm scrolling on my phone with it in the background, for sure.
I don't know that I'll necessarily continue or like how much attention it will receive from me when it is on as background noise. But I will say, I didn't know some of the history between Carolyn, Bessette, and JFK Jr. And specifically, I didn't know that she worked at Calvin Klein. I thought that was like a fun nod. Speaking of the models of it all, you have like Kate Moss in the mix. And like, I'm sure it is a dramatization. Like, who knows what was actually going on in these rooms. But like, they're having conversations like, maybe we do Kate Moss instead of Cindy Crawford. And Kate Moss isn't like even a name yet. So,
yeah, they make it seem like Carolyn broke Kate Moss in the American lexicon.
I know. Which, like,
maybe that's true. I don't know.
Even if that's all fantasy, it's just like fun nods to the time in which this is all operating, which is for me to say, did you remember this love story unfolding? I mean, when did it begin? I mean, I was born in 1996.
So I don't remember it unfolding, and I was not privy to, like, I wasn't tapped into JFK Jr. before Carolyn Bessette, which is interesting to me, because obviously there was a time where he was the cute little kid in all the photos with his dad, and then after his dad died, like the photos at the funeral and stuff like that, he was cute little John.
Yes.
But there was a time between baby John and him being with Carolyn Bessette where the show shows that like he was an it guy. Like New York was following him. They were following his like him failing the bar exam.
He was the Paris Hilton of the 90s. We talk about influencer. JFK Jr. Put some respect on his name.
So I was not following that. I would have been in high school when all of that was happening, and in high school when they got together. But when him and Carolyn got together, I was very logged in because they were everywhere.
Really?
Like all the magazines, they were on the cover, and she was very chic, and she became in the consciousness at a time where like at this kind of similar time where the girls were very thin, the hair was very straight, the middle part
she was model off duty.
Period, which made her sexier because she was a different kind of spectacle. She wasn't getting paid to be a spectacle. She was just an it girl. She was a person who was shaping the fashion that, America was wearing. And I did know that she worked for Calvin Klein, which gave her another kind of edgy quality. It's like, she's not a model for Calvin Klein. She's helping him shape his next line.
She's girl bossing.
She was girl bossing.
Not gaslighting or gatekeeping. Just the first G.
Yeah. And
just a girl.
Just a girl. And I like the way that they kind of bring her personality into our consciousness for all of us who don't know that she she had humble beginnings. Yeah. She was a hard worker. She talks about her parents and, that kind of a, weird relationship.
She has like this emotional complexity. She wasn't chasing him.
Not only was she not chasing him, okay, so you know how she has the coworker that she's kind of like giving the coworker advice about like, well, if you're just giving it out for free, how is he gonna, chase you? And she puts that in effect. We see that with JFK. Like, not only was she not chasing him, she was like, he's gonna have to chase me. He's gonna have to send me flowers.
The bar for that bitch's self-worth was so high, which makes sense why this ultimately became his wife. You want to know who is not getting a good portrayal?
The mother.
No. I mean, in some ways, yes, I agree. What I will say about the Jackie O of it all, Naomi Watts is terrible.
Oh no, I think that she's so good.
Really?
She's giving Sally Field.
I think have you seen Jackie with Natalie Portman?
Yes.
I'm just like, you can't beat that performance. Yeah. I mean, even Katie Holmes, I think maybe we did a better Jackie O than Naomi.
Okay, yes, I know who's getting a bad portrayal. Daryl Hannah.
Yes. Okay, what do you think Daryl Hannah's doing in Hollywood right now, besides being unemployed? Do you think Ryan Murphy had a bone to pick with her?
Well, I told my husband, I was like, it's clear Ryan Murphy don't like this bitch.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She is coming across as pathetic, grovelly, like
grinding on my fucking nerves.
Also, to be fair to Daryl Hannah, the woman playing Daryl Hannah looks nothing like Daryl Hannah.
Yeah, no, but she got that voice down, though. The voice is really carrying.
Okay, I've never heard Daryl Hannah's voice. The only thing I've ever seen Daryl Hannah in, which I can't even tell you a line that was read or uttered or said or anything regarding the performance besides that bitch was underwater, was Splash.
You've definitely seen Steel Magnolias.
Oh my God, wait, actually, she gives a great performance in Steel Magnolias. She's the down on her luck, taken in hairdresser, right?
Who then becomes a Christian baddie.
Oh my God, wait, actually, Daryl Hannah in Steel Magnolias is A+.
Have you never seen Kill Bill?
Yeah, I've never seen Kill Bill.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What is she like in Kill Bill?
She's one of Kill Bill's henchmen. She doesn't talk that much. She's
Seems
fine.
to be a theme.
She's fine. Daryl Hannah was that girl back in these days that we're talking about. So, like, in those days, she was, like, going down, and they even mention it. Like, she's at the funeral, at Jackie O's funeral. She's like, maybe this is the universe. Like, I'm not getting that much work right now.
She had a very specific look, though.
Yeah.
Not model off duty, like,
Yeah, but
kind of like a bodybuilder.
no, she was very thin and tall, but her face is just not giving. But she was considered beautiful. But, like, I will say this. This is where I clock out racially, because there are certain white women who are considered beautiful that I will be like, I don't get it. It just must be a white thing. And I'm just going to...
Also, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
It's all very
like,
subjective.
Like, I'm not taking it. Like, I'm not going to take Daryl Hannah's, beauty accolades
I will
away
say my
from
husband
her.
said he never got it. Like, my husband was like, I've never understood the Daryl Hannah thing.
But I do understand the Carolyn
Bessette. Yeah, Carolyn Bessette. Yeah. I mean,
I'd be barking at her like a basset if I was a man on these streets.
see, to me, I think she's one of those women
She would slap me.
that I'm like, she's objectively beautiful. This is my test for beauty.
Okay.
If I'm at a regular place like the mall, do I do a second look? And there are people that I could look at and I'm like, I'd be like,
I love when I turn my head and ogle in a way where I'm like, I literally don't care if I get caught. Like,
Yeah.
you deserve eyes on you.
yeah. And there's very few blondes who do that for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
One thing that I really came to after watching a few episodes is Caroline Kennedy, who is the mom of Jack Schlossberg and the sister of JFK Jr. I think that she might be the Kennedy with the most trauma. I mean, she lost her dad, she lost her brother, she lost her mom, she lost her now daughter to cancer recently.
The Kennedy curse.
The Kennedy curse for her, though, has been premature deaths her entire life. Her uncle, RFK Jr., she also lost another brother early on. JFK and Jackie O had another son that died 2 days after he was born. Did you know that? She was alive for that. She was the older sister. So her life has just been plagued by early death. And Jack Schlossberg railed against this series and was like, my family's name doesn't need to be profited off of. And I think that he's probably just being protective of his mom, because I imagine just reliving anything to do with her brother, her family, when it's not just the memories that she holds, has to be so painful.
It has to be extremely painful. And even Ryan Murphy portrays the paparazzi frenzy that is involved in these people's lives. It is really, really disgusting. Like, the fact that these kids are now, they're a generation removed, that they still have to go out on the balcony and wave and make an announcement about the death of their mother. It's just like, when do they get to be private citizens?
Well, it was a huge parallel at the time to American royalty and British royalty. Like this
Camelot.
They call them Camelot. The Camelot.
Yeah.
I hated the Camelot scene of her crying. I'm like, was she really talking about Camelot on her deathbed? I mean, maybe we could fact check it, but I'm just like, feels a little sandwiched in here for the legacy of it all.
Yeah. But I will say, as far as the one-to-oneness, the Daryl Hannah one is I think that the Jack Kennedy is so good. I think that guy's so handsome.
Him and Sarah Pigeon, who plays Carolyn, beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, I've jerked off to some people posthumously.
Gross.
I have, you know. JFK Jr. probably being one of them. James Dean, definitely. James Dean was Googled as a kid. James Dean was Googled as a kid and the willy was pulled out. But with this actor, JFK Jr. doesn't have to be Googled anymore. There is someone alive and well to replace him.
Not you having a living specimen that you can now move on to.
Yeah.
And the Calvin Klein guy, I thought that he's like a good one-to-one.
I really just enjoyed that Calvin Klein, the man, is in the series.
That's a great character. And I think that Calvin Klein is one of those people, if you hear him talk and you don't know, you're like, I wonder if Calvin Klein's gay. And
he's kind of giving a little trade secret.
Yeah, but the character does a great job of transferring that over.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All around, I'm not spending any more time on this.
It was more fun for a little refresh on the history lesson.
Yeah.
Well, in the continued trend of speaking about models, did you see that clavicular? What a stupid name.
Well, it has meaning because I guess when he started becoming obsessed with being beautiful.
Giga Chad.
He was really obsessed with the shoulder area. And the collarbone are a part of the shoulder.
I just want to say that it's completely genetic because this is my favorite part of my body.
I have great clavicles.
Is that my clavicles are very pronounced. And when I'm at Barry's, I'm like, oh, that man might be like more muscular than me or 100 other things. But I'm like, I love that my bones right here are pronounced.
Yeah, mine too. I have a good dip in between right here. So when I'm in a bathing suit, like it looks like, yeah.
So shout out for the self-love clavicular. But he was at New York Fashion Week. Look, I didn't go too far into the details because I don't necessarily care about this man besides the fact that we can't escape him. I can't escape that I've literally seen him with a hammer like to his jaw telling children essentially that they can reshape their bone structure by a few taps. I'm like, who dropped you on your head? Well, GQ ends up profiling him. They profile him a whole spread. And I'm like scrolling through Instagram the other morning and I see clavicular on my Instagram feed. And I'm like, okay, it's one thing to see him on like X pop up and people be like, he's insane. It was another thing to be like, who am I following that's like platforming this man in like what looks like a positive light? Like these are glossy photos.
Well, we should tell our listeners who he is, first of all. Like, what is a clavicular?
Well, I think that if you don't know who he is, maybe this isn't for you. But what he is a goon online who believes that men can achieve looksmaxxing, which is reaching their highest potential, reaching ascension through drugs, including meth, hitting your face with a hammer. I mean, there's no end to it in terms of how far he will go in order to achieve
maxed out looks, right?
Yeah.
But I think that like a reason because he's become famous is because all of this is kind of born out of manosphere incel culture.
Yes.
And, they've created their own vocabulary about, who's attractive and who's not attractive. They've created words like mogging, frame mogging, which means just to like be better than someone looks wise, basically. And this is now kind of crossed over in the political sphere because first of all, like they're like live streamers who have brought in like Nick Fuentes and they've talked about how looksmaxxing is going to affect future political
elections, which we talked about. Like he said, I'll vote for Gavin Newsom because Gavin Newsom has a superior jawline to JD Vance.
And he called JD Vance fat and subhuman.
Finally, a picky comment leveraged at a fucking man. It's all it's a really nutty community.
Yes.
It's a really nutty community, and yet it's becoming a part of the lexicon. Like mogged, you hear all of the time, like bro mogged in a shot, and like it's born out of this community. And also part of the GQ write-up, because I did click into it, I wanted to see how they were profiling him. Speaking of the politics of it all, there was a theory that Peter Thiel, the co-founder, CEO of OpenAI, ChatGPT, right?
Mm-hmm. And Palantir.
Was bankrolling him, which was debunked. But it's interesting, like, how these really shady circles or like these shady corners of the internet are all coming together. But it's also showing that, like, we are in the metaverse. Like, people are not living their lives in the real world. They're living their lives for show and for what's on phone screens, because even Clavicular says, I don't even like going to clubs. Like, I don't even want to party, but like, I know it gets me views. So like, who knows how he could grow as a person, because now he's stuck doing what's netting him hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, carting nonsense. Because the thing is, in today's society, you know, it isn't logic that sells. Yeah. It's literally insanity. And that was part of what I think the GQ profile was saying. Yeah. Like, we could probably be making more money farting into this mic.
Well, he was also profiled by The Atlantic, storied magazine from the 1800s. And that was kind of the end synopsis, is that this is all really sad. Like, all these people who are involved in this, they're all nihilists. They don't live in the real world. Mm-hmm. They live online. They don't experience life. And there's a community that has come of this that is now having an effect on our real world, but just because of what we just talked about. But it almost feels really, really desperate. Like, it's really dark. Mm-hmm. You know, it's these people that came from 4chan, which before that was called Something Awful, and this is Something Awful.
Well, he mentions in the GQ profile that he didn't grow up having friends, and I think it shows. This is how these people are birds of a feather flock together.
You know, I got my first look at Looksmaxxing. You know, I spent a lot of time on...
By seeing my ascension?
No, through Reddit. Like, through Reddit, and... you know,
there's like a rate me ugly chant, like, or like,
there's rate me, there's roast me, there's all kinds of things. But I was on one of these channels where they would rate celebrities and like take a person who's objectively beautiful, like we said, Margot Robbie, and they would be like, her upper maxilla her ratio of eye to, it's like,
it's dangerous.
Get a fucking life,
yeah,
too.
It's get a life, and it's dangerous.
Yeah, it's like, get off the internet, because first of all, you would never in a million years have a chance with a woman like this. So you like dissecting her little by little is so disgusting. But yeah, these people are making a shit ton of money. I listened to one of these streams with him and Nick Fuentes. They said nothing. I think they said the word based like 40 something times, and it was back to back, like, yeah, that was based, super based, WChat. I fear for the future is what I took away from that.
Sometimes when I hear two Gen Z people talking to one another, I'm like, you are speaking in hieroglyphics, but I love it. You know who is on the internet right now in a really positive way?
Who?
The Obamas.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Michelle's like, those Epstein files, I'm sure she's raging about them at home, but she's like, I can't be worried about that shit. My name's not mentioned. I wasn't on the fucking plane. Meanwhile, she's like, Real Housewives of New Jersey, that's my shit. Teresa Giudice flipping that table, loved it. I'm like, okay, girl's just plugged into Bravo right now.
Well, this is what I told you like 3 months ago when she was doing like her podcast and she's showing up to Jennifer Hudson and blah, blah, blah. Michelle seems like she don't give a fuck right now. She's living her life.
She is living her best life.
Every time someone asks her about her husband, Barack, you know, becoming president again since Donald Trump wants to like circumvent the laws, why can't you? She's like, nope, I would divorce him, because She's like, I don't want that life. I want my normie life. I want to watch Bravo and talk about it and not be judged on first lady level.
On the global stage.
Yeah.
I want to wear my hair however I want to wear my hair.
And first of all, can we just say her style is impeccable? She looks so good. Talk about black don't crack. You were saying off camera, you were saying black don't crack. My God.
She's reversed in aging almost because she is being able to live her authentic life and her style, like, as first lady. While it was great, but it was like it aged her.
Yeah, it was elegant and it was, sophisticated or whatever, but girl is cool.
She's funky. She's fun.
Yeah, she's like a really cool person.
She could be a fashion influencer, honestly.
Every time I see her and I'm like, oh, I like this new braid style. Oh, I like this outfit. Like, especially to the generation right below her, which I am a part of, she definitely could be an influencer.
Okay, she's an influencer, and now Obama is a conspiracy theorist because he's talking about extraterrestrials.
Well, and did you see that Trump responded and was like, he's not supposed to be talking about that, which
he's going to get in big trouble.
Thus confirming the aliens. He said that's confidential.
Well, Obama also was like, I have no proof that aliens have contacted us. I'm just saying that the universe, he was on a podcast and, aliens came up and he was just saying the
universe is vast.
The scientific framework, which is, fact that the universe is vast and there's other life out there.
Intelligent life. So, but Trump, in Trump fashion, was like, he's giving away confidential information, which Barack Obama did not do, but then he kind of did by saying this does exist in a confidential way.
Well, we just have to wait for the meme from Donald Trump with like Barack Obama and ET with a finger out. And then we'll know that we've really come full circle in this subject.
In the meme-averse, yes.
Yeah.